Okay.
Here we go. 1, 2, 3.
Hi everybody, welcome back to the Zia Cooking Kitchen. I'm Carrie and I'm so glad you're here. It has been an exciting day. I'm already getting busy with these wonderful tortillas and I am going to be sharing with you a delicious recipe today. Welcome to the Zia Cooking Kitchen if it's your first time here, and if you're, welcome back if you're joining us again. Thank you. I'm so excited about showing all these wonderful things today. Take a minute, click and subscribe if you haven't done that already. Today we are going to be making some delicious red chili. Now this is a very much requested recipe. I get it all the time, and the question is, how do you make a delicious red chili out of powder? And I'm going to show you the most affordable, delicious way to make chili in your home, and it's going to cost you less than $3 to make 6 cups. It's the best way to do it. Let's get started. Now that I've got these tortillas going, because we are going to be smothering these with that chili in just a moment, let's turn our attention to how easy it is to create red chili in our home. Now, what I'm going to be doing is using a heavy bottom skillet, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about chili powder. We're making red chili. Now, traditionally, as New Mexicans, we get this sun-dried red chili. Remember, this grows green on the plant, and when it's harvested, it's usually sun-dried. It's also put together in ristras, but a lot of times we'll find ourselves, once our ristra has been gone through, or we may not have access if we live out of state, we're going to resort to chili powder. And chili powder is simply taking the actual pod of the chili, the stem is removed and all of the seeds, and what we do is it's ground down into a very fine powder, and look at that color. That is gorgeous. I love red chili. Now, everybody in New Mexico that I know has a certain way of creating chili, so I'm going to share with you what goes on in my kitchen. But remember, New Mexico is a large state, and we have families from all over, and we create recipes differently. It's important that we learn from each other, that we're kind, and that we share. The way that I cook may be different than what you find in your kitchen, but it's important that we all take a moment and we appreciate what we have. A lot of people's budgets are thin. It's harder to keep wonderful food on the table, especially when we're having to make different types of decisions for our meal budget. So enough talking from me, and let's get started. The ingredients we're going to be using today, and I'm going to have them all by measurement in the drop box, and it's going to be hard for me because I always make this by sight, but I'm going to use the best measurements that I can. And we're going to start with our skillet, and we are going to be adding approximately 2 tablespoons of oil. Now today I'm using a clear canola oil, and I also like to add a little bit of butter. It's just something that I like to do for my taste, and I'm going to go ahead and get that melted in the skillet. Now, when you're using this type of way, working with with our spices, it's important that we allow them to bloom. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to start in the very beginning and get this oil going. And I'm going to start with creating a roux. Now, what I'm going to be adding there to our vegetable oil and our butter, thank you guys for following along, is some simple all-purpose flour. And I like to use a 1-to-1 ratio when I'm creating this. And you want to make sure that you take a few moments to cook it over low heat. It's important that we cook that flour taste out and we bring it to a nice golden brown. And you can see how beautiful that is already coming together so nicely. And it gives a nice nutty quality. That's why it's important that we get this started in the very beginning. Now, as that's cooking, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about the other ingredients we're going to be using while I'm stirring. We are going to be, of course, using some salt, and I like to use a ground garlic for this. Not a garlic salt, but a garlic powder. It's really important that we realize that the garlic is a very important part for enhancing the chili taste. I also like to use a little bit of that Mexican oregano, and of course we're going to be using about a 1/4 cup to a 1/3 cup of the red chili powder. This is picoso, meaning it's hot. So you want to make sure that you're using it for your taste. Some families like to make really hot chili. I like to do that too. Sometimes we like a mild one on the table just to enhance the meal that we're making. So as you can see, this is becoming a nice dark color. I'm going to go ahead, and this is something that I like to do, is as I'm working with my roux on this side, and cooking, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna drop in my spices over to the dry side of the pan. And I'm gonna start to roast that chili. And what I do by roasting it is I'm allowing it to bloom. And we're gonna mix that in together. Oh gosh, look at that color is coming together so lovely. Now when you're creating this in your kitchen, again, you can always adjust the spice level, but today we're gonna make it we're using hot chili, but I'm gonna show you because we're gonna be using some broth to cook this down. Now I'm turning this down to a low. You're gonna start to see the color darken, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add in my spices at this time. And we're adding in some oregano, and we're adding in that garlic pepper. Oh my gosh, I can already smell it. It's gonna make my eyes water because I'm using this really super hot chili, but I'm excited to share it with you guys. And as we go, you can see it's thickening up. And what we're gonna be doing is I created a delicious vegetable broth. You can also use chicken stock. You can use water. That's another thing that you can do. Remember, true New Mexico cooking is making do with what you have in your house and making delicious meals. So as that is coming together really, really nice, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with our broth. And you always wanna make sure when you're adding any type of hot liquid to your pan that you're gonna go ahead and just temper it, or just add a little bit at a time to get that started. That is delicious. Yes, a red chili facial. Nothing like having one of those. Yes, love that. Now, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be adding in my my vegetable broth, because that's what I'm using today. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to go ahead and start adding that in. Again, cooks, you want to be careful when you're working in your kitchen. Now, our flour is going to work for two different things. Not only is it going to give us that nice nutty taste in the background, but it's going to be our thickening agent. And that's something that I want to talk a little bit about. When we're making this for a carne, and we're going to add it to our meat, we like it thicker, really coats the meat. We can stuff our burritos with that, or we can make delicious tamales. But what I'm making this chili for today is so that we can use it for enchiladas, but we're going to make some smothered burritos. There is a place, Taco Blank, and I won't say the last part of it, but they make something that comes on and off the menu a lot. And anytime that I get a chance to recreate an enchilada in my kitchen, I love to do it. And this chili is perfect for that. So moving along, as you can see, this is mixed, well incorporated, and now we're just going to let the magic of the stove go working. A couple of things I'm going to do is I like to drop in a couple of cloves of garlic. I just simply cut them in half. I like the natural oil to come out of those garlic cloves, and then they're real easy to remove at the end. So I go ahead and I drop those in as well. We're going to bring this to a low boil, and this is going to cook for about 15 to 20 minutes on our stovetop, and it's going to thicken up, and I'm going to give you a couple of different tips and hints. Make sure that you watch to the end, because we're going to create those delicious burritos, and I'm so excited about that. Cooking is a fun thing to do with your family and your friends. It's a wonderful way to share stories and history, and I'm glad you guys are here today. Let's get back together in just a moment, and we're going to be looking at these delicious burritos. Oh my goodness, it smells lovely in here. So I'm going to tell you, this morning when I got up, I used my granny's tortilla recipe, and I made some delicious homemade tortillas. If you're not able to do that, that's okay. Store-bought's fine. But there's nothing like my granny's tortillas. And I have that video. If you haven't watched it, make sure you do and practice those tortillas at home. I also used some pito beans, and you want to make sure that you click and subscribe if you haven't taken time to do that. Look at these delicious beans. These were made in my crock pot. Thank you, Sandra Morrow, for this delicious gift of beans that you gave our family during the holiday season. And I went ahead and I put a ton of cheese. You know how I like it. So we were working today with our red chili sauce. Now some people get very, very touchy about the word sauce, and they say we have red chili and we have green chili in New Mexico. But I think that it's okay to use the word sauce when we're making something as delicious as red chili sauce, because we're going to smother our burrito with this today. But this is also delicious for you to dip your tortillas tortillas in. You can layer them on your plate with cheese and onions. You can add meat if you'd like. But taking a look at this, I wanted to recap a couple of things. You're gonna make sure that you cook your chili for at least 20 to 30 minutes. You wanna make sure all that powder gets reconstituted and it gets thicker as it goes. So I took the lid off so it can thicken down, and I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna add the salt in at this time. It's important that we taste test as we go, and I've made this many times, so I know that I like to use about a half a teaspoon of salt to get started because the cheese and the beans are gonna be offering a lot of flavors as well. But I'll leave your spice level to what you like to do in your kitchen. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna show you kind of the consistency of what happens when you make this red chili and you cook it down. So we have our burritos, and I'm simply rolling those up, nice and delicious with all that cheese. And look at this. This is how we smother a burrito in New Mexico. Yes, look at that. Easy, delicious, and lovely. And of course, we need all that extra cheese. It wouldn't be Carrie's Kitchen without some queso going on. So we're gonna go ahead and we are gonna be liberal with that. I like to put these under the broiler and let that cheese get a little melted and crispy. I'm not going to take time to do that since we're together today. And of course, you cannot have red chili in my house, especially if I'm making it for my honey, without those white onions. That just makes that chili flavor pop. So let's go ahead and drop on a couple of those. And I want you to take a look at how delicious this is. This is a great way to make food. It's very affordable. You can see how delicious it looks. All of that cheese and that lovely beans inside. This is going to be a true treat. I'm so glad you joined me in the Zia Cooking Kitchen. My name is Carrie. Come on back and see me again. And I'm going to take a little nibble just so you guys can see me do my happy dance. I'm so glad that we were together today. This looks hot and steaming. If I don't get a chance to say thank you for joining me while I shove this in my mouth, I'm going to go ahead and do that now if I can. Woo. It's always hard to be a lady and eat on camera, but I'm gonna go for it, guys. Again, thank you for joining me in the Zia Cooking Kitchen. Woo! It's a winner, guys. Kitchen's open. Woo! Welcome back. We'll see you next time.
Okay, that's it. Great. Oh, fantastic.